Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode brought to you by the Halo Collective. My name is Ricky, and yeah, I seem to have scarred Tyler with the last picture I showed him, but that's okay, because we're going to be showing you some other pictures. None of them are of the Jurl Hane subject, but they are of some amazing pieces of artwork that we had a slideshow the other day as one of the videos we released. This time around, we're going to be trying to focus around on going into more detail and depth with the actual images provided. If that's your thing, well, it would have to be your thing, otherwise you wouldn't click on this video. And if you clicked on this video and you're not into artwork, I will get you interested in these pieces of artwork, or so help me God, I will fire myself. Starting us off is Locke. Obviously, Locke would have to be within the character weapons and vehicles video. However, before we begin, just look at him. He's smooth. I don't necessarily enjoy the look of his helmet, though I've heard many people have great things about his helmet. However, the thing is, with Locke, they wanted to make him feel like a fighter jet, very aerodynamic and stealth oriented. His armor was meant to feel like a type of prototype armor. Much of it is left as unpainted metal with parts and manufacturing numbers visible, meaning that he didn't want to customize the armor in any way. He took it from stock and immediately went into battle with it. That kind of shows the personality of Jameson Locke as well. Next up we have Vale, and Vale falls under more of the race car theme, with a unique tech suit and integrated plating. Her design was supposed to reflect a prototype design as well. The key goals of her armor were to make it feel sleek and lightweight, as well as acrobatic, which, the way she fights within the intro cutscene of Halo 5, does give off the sense of her weightlessness. Characters were generally blocked out in ZBrush, and then later put on a high poly, hard surface assets in Autodesk, as well as Maya. Game resolution assets were generated in Maya based on high resolution source files, sampled and exported to the engine. Textures were painted in Photoshop and 3D Code using a physical based rendering approach. That being said, these are a lot of basic and very popular game design software pieces, and these software pieces are wonderful to be added as well as referenced to the fans as what was used to create their favorite characters and favorite locations. As many of you have probably noticed, the Scorpion as well as the Needler seem to have been rebuilt, but that is not just an assumption. They were in fact rebuilt for the next gen, or current gen as we are, because the console is stronger and better capable. They reworked it to better fit what the console was capable of, which was a very smart move on their part because it gets to show off more detail and design if you're the type of person to pause the game and just take a look at everything. As for the Scorpion tank, as you can see right here, this is the pre-texture model. Essentially the sculpted model before they actually put any color or designs on it, but you can still see with the way that it is with these two images is that they are very heavy, or at least they give off the sense of being heavy, and that was kind of what they were aiming for. And now these next images that are being provided on screen are the texture models. They have the color, they have the symbols, numbers, and anything else that you would need to get this basis that it is a UNSC Scorpion. And going back and forth between the two images, you can clearly see the amount of detail within it. From the texture model, which was beautiful, as well as it being in the full game, as well as the pre-texture model, which the artists had to then later add the textures to. Stepping away from vehicles for a moment, we now have the Plasma Caster, which is an incredibly new weapon. Not a new title for a weapon, obviously, as we had a Plasma Caster over within Halo Reach, but let's forget about that for a moment, and let's take this Plasma Caster and look at it and look how its inner workings actually work. So we can see some coils, which the first thing that came to mind would be Tesla coils, on the side where the plasma would actually be growing and then would later be shot if you were holding the second firing. But the other wonderful thing that you should pay attention to with the Plasma Caster is that because of the smart scope system, when you actually scope into the weapon, it was built around what it would look like if you were scoping it with smart scope. It wasn't built around the aesthetic of a weapon, it was built around smart scope. They wanted you to see it from a first person's perspective of how this weapon worked and what you can see in it. Obviously you don't see all of it when you're playing the actual game, but that's what they built the design around. Following that up, we have some images of the assault rifle, in particular a recon scoped assault rifle. This one right here, you can see the recon scope and it's untextured and seemingly inactive. But then in this next image we have a side view of it, and you can see even more of the detail within it and how it would actually work, because you don't get to see the whole thing within the actual game, so it's actually kind of nice to get to see pieces of art like this. The next one we have here is an undersided view where you can actually see the grip and where the grooves would be, where your fingers would go in between. If you take the time and imagine how that would feel in your hands, I'm pretty sure you'd feel like a badass. Next up, we have an image of something that you would only think of seeing in a Rambo movie, and that would be the chain gun. Obviously, because the chain gun has become part of Halo ever since you first got on one in Halo CE on the back of a Warthog, and then in Halo 3 when you were able to rip off of its little stand and carry it around. Obviously, they would be able to have some artwork for it, and here we are looking at it. Some pictures of this will obviously have the barrel uncovered, and then some images will have the barrel covered. And this is kind of like something that it reminds me of is back in Halo Reach, you didn't actually see the spinning barrels, you saw a single barrel and it was covered. Maybe this is a retro look back onto it. The barrel's covered, but you can still easily see in the front where the things spin. And then on this last image right here, we get to see the under look as well as the back of the chain gun. I don't know exactly how you would hold it looking at it. It seems to be better to be fired upon on an actual vehicle. However, obviously Spartans have figured out a way how to handle these weapons off of an actual vehicle. Next up, we have a fan favorite, the Halo CE pistol. Wait, no. Okay, never mind. This is just a sucky Halo Reach pistol that shoots a lot but doesn't do any explosive damage. Setting that aside, it's actually a pretty good weapon, and in this image right here you can actually see the inside workings of it, because it seems that they cut the actual model in half just to see on the inside. That being said, there's not really a lot of detail in this particular image, so let's jump to this other one, where you actually see the front of the barrel as well as the side view with textures. It doesn't look very well textured in this image, and that's only because the gun itself doesn't really have a lot of color. So you gotta actually take a little bit more look into it, and then you can actually say, yeah, it's textured pretty well. But it's still not the Halo CE pistol, so we're just gonna be like, okay, let's throw it out the window. Next up is the last weapon we're going to be covering, and pretty much the most recognizable weapon from the entire Halo universe, the Needler! I'm sorry, I got a little bit too excited there, but let's first take a look at this side image, and then let's look at this other image, and we can tell that these are pretty much the same image, except one of them includes something else, so we're going to be focusing on this one that actually includes the front view instead of just the side view. I don't know. I don't like to look at a picture when it's already in another picture, but okay, let's move over to this other one now that we've all gotten a good look at the other two. This one I actually enjoy the most because it has the color of the Needler. It looks more purple rather than the reddish orange the other two did, and it actually you can see the grooves, the edges, sharp edges. God, I love sharp edges. But take a look at the Needler, see how it is. I actually want to hold one, and I'm actually thinking about getting one of those toys just so I can shoot Tyler and force him to give me his car keys, because he took something from me that I really want back. So yeah, okay, let's hop over to the other vehicle in this, because this went off track. Next up, we have two images of the Phantom. One is a side view, which we're gonna stay on screen for a moment, and then the other one is a top diagonal view of sorts. That one's not gonna come up until a few moments so that everybody can get a good look at this. Then again, just look at it, smooth. It looks definitely different from the original Halo trilogy Phantoms, and that's canonically explained as they're actually the Sangheili are basing the actual vehicles off of animals on their planet, as well as cultural references to their species that weren't allowed while the Sanshum were in charge. So we can see the Covenant weaponry like the Needler before, as well as multiple vehicles within the game based off of things that the Sangheili would have used as inspiration for various weapons, vehicles, as well as armor. Next up we have two sad, lonely pictures, one of Holly Tanaka and the other one of Buck. No explanations to them, no detail provided like what we got with Vale and James and Locke. Just pictures of Buck and Tanaka. No explanations, just pictures. Setting aside that there was no explanation or detail for these two pictures that are going back and forth on the screen, they're great to look at, just like every other piece of artwork that is provided, and more videos are to come because there are just so many of them. How long has this audio thing been? 11 minutes already? Okay, well, that's to say that this was just this small portion of artwork that was provided this time around, but there's still two more sections of artwork pieces to go over, so I hope you guys return and check them out because I'm actually kind of having fun talking about it. So, if you want to stay up to date for news on anything and everything Halo, be sure to subscribe to the Halo Collective, because we will be sure to force you to press that subscribe button otherwise. Have a good night, people, or good day, or midday, or evening, or... Tyler, what time is it over there in Canada? What do you mean? So I'm just basically making this outro so long because I have nothing else to say. Trying to fight? Want to do something about it? Yeah, that's what. Hey, don't get those pictures, dude. I gave you that picture. Don't.